Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Platinum with only Honey Tree Pokemon was pretty different, so let's follow that up with literally a completely different video game. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Oblivion with only illusion magic? First of all, hey to any new people who just found me, I'm Mah-Dry-Bread. I do lots of stuff, but people usually know me for my Pokemon Challenge videos. Second, to all of you who have already subscribed, don't worry, there's a new Pokemon Challenge next week. And third, let's talk about the challenge for a little bit. So real quick, let's talk about why this run is hard. Illusion magic is pretty cool in Oblivion. Creating lights, charming people into giving you better deals, turning invisible, even mind-controlling creatures to fight for you. It has a major weakness though, no damaging spells. That's mostly what destruction magic is for after all. That means that to win this run, I basically have to beat the whole game without ever directly attacking anyone. I don't know if that's possible yet, but I guess we're gonna find that out. Oh, and it's also worth pointing out, I have no idea if anyone else has done this challenge, and I obviously mean no disrespect towards anyone else doing this stuff. I literally didn't even check if anyone has done it, I just thought it'd be fun to do. After all, I'm not trying to tell you if it's possible to do this challenge, I'm just trying to figure out if I can personally do it, hence the name of the video. If I fail at this, it's probably because I suck. Go watch Mitten Squad, he's pretty cool. You can tell he's cool because he follows me on Twitter. Only cool people follow me on Twitter. Link in the description. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all of this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I bet that I can do the vast majority of the game with just illusion magic, but I'd be pretty surprised if I wasn't forced to take at least a few people out myself. Let's explain the rules. I'm only allowed to cast illusion magic. So in practical terms, let's say that I can't cast any other school of magic, and I can't attack people with, like, a weapon or my fists. I obviously can't stop myself from getting skill points in athletics or acrobatics, but those aren't offensive actions, so they should be fine. Also, no mods that affect gameplay. I have no mods at all installed right now, but maybe if I do this again in the future, I'll use a visual mod. But I want these challenges to be possible in non-modded Oblivion. Either than that, I think it should all be pretty standard. Let's do this. Man, I haven't done this tutorial in ages. You have no idea how excited I am to play this again. So let's make our character. First, I name him Goosit after my friend Brandon, who convinced me to try this one. He's done tons of challenges on his channel and Bethesda games, as well as other games, and he has literally been in over 1,000 videos on my channel over the course of the last 10 years. So I want to name my dude after him for once, instead of naming the rival after him like in the Pokemon runs. Anyway, I make a Breton for the boost to intelligence and willpower, as well as some cool magic defense traits. I figure that that'll help me stay alive a little bit. I'm gonna be running away a lot. Wandering through the tutorial area without being able to fight back or cast anything is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I'm sure that it doesn't help that I'm wildly out of practice and usually skip the tutorial when I replay the game, so I don't exactly know where I'm going all the time. We actually almost die and only made it through thanks to looting health potions. I always forget how unintentionally hilarious this game can be. Now it's class time. Now I'm no Oblivion pro, but if I remember right, as a non-combat class, we want to take some pretty weird skills as our major ones, because leveling up too fast will just make it harder to fight higher level enemies, even when we aren't actually that much stronger than before. Because of that, I make a custom class. Favorite attributes are Intellect for more magic, and Willpower for magic regen. For skills, I just picked a bunch of skills that I can't actually use so I don't accidentally level them up, as well as Block, since I could probably use that to intentionally level up if I have to, since it's not an attacking skill, although I guess that brings up the bag of worms on if it's legal in this run. I think that since it's not an attack, it'll be fine, but I'll leave that up to you guys to argue in the comments. I have a run to start. And I'll let you know if I end up doing the block thing, by the way, I haven't done it yet. The actual sewers after picking the class was pretty easy and quick to get through. Hey, if I do another one of these Oblivion challenges, would you guys want me to just skip the tutorial? The game gives you a save right before you finish it, and it lets you customize your class and race and everything that moment too, so we may as well just skip straight to the real game next time. Fresh air. Normally, this is where I'd instantly abandon the main plot and go hang out in the Imperial City, but instead I fast travel straight to Breville. Breville? I actually don't remember. But the chapter of the Mages Guild there specializes in illusion magic. I'm sure there's an easier way to get illusion spells, but I'm no pro at this game. I just used to play it a lot in high school, so I figured that this is a decent enough place to start. Like my tourist walk, by the way. You can tell that I really don't know my way around anymore. So the head of this chapter wants us to go get a student's mage staff back. Another student, Varen, he's got a crush on her, so he stole her staff. Seems like the kind of thing that a kid would do, and I get the impression that these are young adults, but whatever. I've been given a Beguile Illusion magic scroll to cast on him to get info out of him. So I walk up to him, slightly miss the spell, reload a save, and then Beguile him. Anyway, he says that he pawned off the staff to someone in the Imperial City. That's fine with me, I've been looking forward to revisiting the place anyway. Man, I've got so many memories of exploring this place back when I was in high school. This game is actually really nostalgic to me. Did you know that if you sit around and watch these two fight for a little while, you actually gain some unarmed skill? I mean, we have no use for it, but I always thought that was cool. Anyway, even though the head of the Mages Guild in Bravel directly said for us to not return without the staff,
Don't come back without that staff.
the quest needs us to return to her without the staff, so I go back. I tell her that he sold it, and she gives me 3 more Beguile scrolls, so I went back to the Imperial City, stood outside the merchant's house for like 8 hours until he opened the door, and then I just waltzed into his house. He explained that he bought the staff for quite a bit of money and doesn't really want to part with it, so we instantly tried to swindle him by beguiling him with magic. It didn't charm him enough to sell it to me though, so I think I'll just come back when I have better illusion magic. I could do the Speechcraft minigame, but honestly, I don't know if you guys would consider that to be against the rules or not. Let me know in the comments though, I'm curious. With that route on hold, I decide to just pawn off some junk for money and hit up the discount store spell. It's discount for a reason though, these spells are very low quality. The only illusion spell that he had that I could afford was Starlight, a novice spell that just creates 20 feet of light for about a minute. It sucks, but it's pretty much the main way to build up magic skill this early in Oblivion, so I just cast it over and over as I travel. Doesn't look like any other store here sells illusion magic though. I'll have to try and make some money to get better stuff in Bravel. Let's get some of the main story done though, if we can. So, plot. The Emperor is dead, and we have his amulet. We're supposed to bring it to his illegitimate son. Joffrey here tells us that he's a priest in Kvatch, and also lets us take some supplies that we're mostly just gonna pawn off for spell money. On my way to Kvatch, we hit the apprentice level at illusion magic, so that's pretty cool. What's not cool is the state of Kvatch. It's, seen better days. So we're gonna need some better magic before we get into the Oblivion Gate. I pawn off the gear that we got for some money and started hitting up magic shops. I ended up having just enough to buy the Seductive Charm spell from Delphine Jend in the Bravel Mages Guild. Her selection's pretty impressive. Anyway, I tested the spell by instantly blasting her with it, and would you look at that, her disposition raised. Remember kids, if you can't test the product on the merchant, don't buy it. Oh my god, that's gonna get taken the wrong way. I interrupt Soros in his house as he's talking to his giant wife, but he tells me that it's nothing personnel, kid, he just likes the staff. We'll need a stronger charm spell to win this guy over without the Speechcraft minigame. Oh well, we can still get better prices at stores with this. Then I don't actually remember what the prize for this quest is, so for all I know, I totally don't need it. So here's the dreaded part in the video where I start an old school flame war. Oh my god, do you remember that term? Old internet. Because the rules of this are kind of arbitrary, there's a lot of things left up to interpretation in the rules. So now I must ask you, Semantic Rule 1, is alchemy allowed? It's a non-combat skill, so I can't actually directly win a fight for us with this. But is it all about the fighting? Would the alchemy be allowed if I was selling the potions, or does the use of the potions not matter? These aren't rhetorical questions, by the way. I actually want to hear your opinions in the comments. In fact, I'll have a poll in the description for every question about, like, really semantic rules. Your votes will actually help me workshop the rules for future challenges, so thanks for that. Anyway, I made a bunch of potions to sell for more spell money. If you think it's against the rules, then consider this a blemish and a failed run. I'm gonna keep playing though, because honestly, I'm having a blast. I used some of the money to pick up the rage spell. I figure that maybe if I had some enemies go crazy, they'll fight each other and that'll cause a distraction. Alright, I slap on some low quality leather armor that we were given, and we have a few spells. I guess now is a good enough time as any to make some progress. Here we go. So, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a bit more confident before I walked in. Kinda forgot about this part. I'm not liking my chances here. So it seems like I'm able to charm these imps, I think? Something like that. Anyway, I can charm them, but it doesn't stop them from fighting me, and rage flat out doesn't seem to work. Not a strong start. I sprint my way through the tower, trying to avoid as much damage as I can while I climb to the top. Partway up, I find this guard who tells me that I need to get the key from the Keeper.
The Keeper has the key. You must get the key. You should not be here, mortal. Your blood is forfeit. Your flesh is mine.
Yeah, I don't think my charm spell worked on him. This is a no-go. We need to find some kind of spell that could get the key from him. So I go to the Coral Mages Guild and talk to Albric and spend almost every last piece of gold we have to get the Command Creature spell. This one only works up to level 2 creatures, but it still works from a range. Let's hope that that's good enough. When I get back to Oblivion though, I quickly attempt the spell just to find out that apparently these creatures are not creatures and probably count as humanoids? Look, I understand, they walk on 2 legs and are roughly human-shaped, but how can you point at that thing and tell me it's not a creature? Time to go picking stuff for potions again. Gotta make the money to go buy the Command Humanoid spell as well, apparently. I just go around the Imperial Marketplace, grabbing bits of food and ingredients to make potions out of it, as well as some beer and wine I stole from bandits in the sewers. It was almost exactly enough to buy the Command Humanoid spell, so let's try this again. I get back in there, cast the spell, and it still doesn't work. Wait, maybe they are creatures and they're too high of a level? Man, if I can't use either of these spells on literally the first non-tutorial main quest enemies you fight, what am I supposed to use these things on? Maybe I just suck at illusion magic though. Probably just that. This time to make money, I decide to have some fun and just wander around the lands. Oh, it turns out these things are imps, by the way. Command Creature works on these guys, so that's pretty cool. This charcoal cave is a fun place to build up some sneak skill too while using our spells. We just keep commanding animals in the cave to fight each other, and then we grab the loot. Our Command Humanoid spell is actually strong enough to work on bandits too. I'm not sure I need the help though, they're not that bright. After that, I go back to the shops and sell off all the loot. We ended up with just over 600 gold. Not bad for a low-level cave with a bit of illusion magic. Now, we have a 2-step plan to get past the Oblivion Gate. 1, I need to get to Journeyman level illusion, so I stand around and cast Starlight until I gain 10 whole skill points. For step 2, I talk to Ita in the Bravel Mages Guild and check out what she's selling. She's got some really solid illusion spells, but we don't have that much money. I decide to buy an even stronger charm spell. Let's go get that mage's staff.
As much as I like you, friend, I'm just not willing to part with that staff. It's nothing personal.
God damn it. And yeah, I tried going to Oblivion to see if this charm was strong enough to get the scamps, that's what they're called by the way, to leave me alone. No luck. I went wandering again and found the Quickwater Cave, but I'll save you some time, don't go here. The upper floor was just a whole lot of imps guarding really lame loot, and downstairs was mostly just swimming away from man-eating fish. Maybe if I could breathe underwater, there'd be some great loot worth looking for, but I didn't see anything. After that, I just went to Valverin. It's a little dungeon that's right near the sewers that we started at. We could command all the bandits there, so it was really easy to loot. After selling it all, we had enough cash to buy the Invisibility and Chameleon spells. Invisibility makes you straight up invisible, although sometimes they can still spot you, there's weird rules about it. Chameleon makes us harder to see rather than straight up invisible, but we can still interact with things while it's active, so we'll probably need a bit of both. This time on my trip back to Oblivion, getting to the tower is a cakewalk. This invisibility spell is an absolute lifesaver. The inside of the tower is still brutal though. We're often still getting hit because we need to open so many doors and our chameleon spell is still really weak. That mixed with our low stealth skill. I did find out that the Command Humanoid spell works on Daedra warriors though. Hilariously enough, when I got to the keeper that we got stuck on last time, I just commanded him and he ended up losing the fight to a scamp and nearly fell down the entire tower when I was able to just hardly grab his leg and get the key. To say that the path to the top of the tower was harrowing is an understatement. This is so much more tense than when I play normally. Multiple times I almost died due to traps or getting caught, but I managed to sneak past tons of scamps and charm a few Daedra grunts to get to the top. Once I was finally there, I commanded the final guard there to protect me, then I took the sigil stone, destroying the place and closing the gate. Now we can finally get to the priest. I go to the captain of the guard here and he asks me to come along because I have more combat experience than his troops. I don't think he has any idea how wrong he is. Anyway, while they were doing the fighting for me, I turned invisible and went around looting the wreckage of the town. Once I got into the church, I instantly over-encumbered myself by stealing their food, dropped some boots, then talked to Reverend Bean about how he was really the Emperor's son and he has to come with me. The commander told me to report back to him right away so we can save the rest of Kvatch, but I bailed on him to go hang out with Sean Bean instead. We go back to the Abbey and ended up having a shockingly lengthy conversation with this man while he was running for his life from a demon who's right behind him. After that, I charm some demons and find Joffrey, who does all the real fighting for us. The Amulet of the Kings has been stolen, and he said that he won't feel safe until Sean Bean is at the Cloud Ruler Temple. But I've got some loot, so I drag them into the middle of the Imperial City's market district first. Priorities. Anyway, after that I go to the temple, and while they're off having an in-game cutscene, I'm jumping around and casting illusion magic. You know, to make a good first impression. I love the embarrassing Oblivion cutscenes.
Hail, Dragon Ball!
Hail, Martin Septim!
Hail!
Hail!
Your Highness.
Not much of a speech, was it?
We even get membership into the Blades and a cool katana along with it. I can't wait to sell it. So we go to a boarding house back in the Imperial City to meet with Boris, and he says that he's being followed. We follow him to the basement, and this dude summons armor and attacks him. My spells aren't working on him though, so I just sit there and wait for Boris to win this one on his own. We take a book off the body and Boris sends us off to deliver it to his friend at the university. She tells me that there are 4 volumes in this book series by the Mythic Dawn, and they give us clues on how to find their secret base. We have a copy of the first, she gave us a copy of the second, but we were sent to the local bookstore to get more. The dude here is so sorry.
So sorry.
But he can't give us the 3rd edition because it's special ordered by somebody else. Our charm spell wasn't enough to get him to hand it over, so let's find the buyer instead. It turns out he's right outside, so I just go invisible, show up behind him, steal a note from his pocket telling me where to find the 4th volume, then I follow him into the shop. As he buys the 3rd volume, I tail him for about a minute and then just easily steal it as well. Time to report back to Boris. He tells me that he knows the sewers really well for some reason, so he escorts me down there. It's pretty embarrassing to watch how long it takes him to fight a few mud crabs and rats. Also, apparently Command Humanoid doesn't work on goblins, but Command Creature does? Does that make the person who made this spell racist for calling goblins creatures? Or is magic as a whole racist? I wonder if... Okay. Anyway, as we were near the end of the sewer level, cause it always has to have a sewer level, he tells me that he's gonna handle the meet and greet. Basically, they think we're an initiate trying to join the Mythic Dawn, and Boris wants to be the one doing the talking while we provide him cover. I tried to say that I'll be the one to do the talking, cause I'm literally a bard, but he insisted. Alright, dude, if by cover me you mean turn invisible and hide in a corner, then I've gotcha. So he does the meeting, he says absolutely nothing, then the guy says he's perfect to join, then a minute later he realizes he recognizes Boris as one of the Blades, and they kill him. Yeah, great plan, Boris. Sit there and don't talk until they kill you. Great job, the Blades will miss ya. Anyway, I can only command one of the guys in here, and our spell isn't strong enough for the rest of them, so we die. I'm gonna insist that we do the talking next time. It started well with me charming him, but almost instantly the backup arrives and Boris is standing in plain sight and our cover is blown. The guy is useless at both jobs. I have a new plan, though. I sit in the chair to get the recruiter to show up, turn invisible, and then just stand there failing attempts to pick his pocket over and over. But he lets me, so I just end up getting it. Then he says,
Take it. It's worthless to me anyway.
so he knows that I'm here and I took it. Then I also just take a key and walk out of the room. Boris is literally just walking up against a wall, then he breezes past me. The Mythic Dawn aren't following us out of the room. Sorry, why did we need Boris for any of this? So we go back to the librarian to talk to her about the books. She reminds us that there are clues in the books to where the cultist base is, and she says that I can come back tomorrow once she's thought about it more, and I guess that's to give the player more hints on the location. Gee, I wonder where it could... Yeah, it's just this cave near the Quickwater Cave. It's pretty much right next to the area that I stumbled into earlier. Funny story, the reason why I know that this is the correct cave is because once back in high school, I accidentally stumbled into here before the main story wanted me to, and I was very confused. You can see why I'd be confused, considering this is what you're met with as you walk in.
Dawn is breaking. Dawn is breaking. Dawn is breaking.
Yeah, it turns out you can't actually go here until you mess with some runes at the Temple of Prince Tamriel. At midday, there's a map on it that just leads you to exactly where we already were. Now that we've seen it, we're just magically allowed to say the response to the code, and we're let in. Why couldn't I charm this guy into letting me in? Isn't that what charm is for? Anyway, I walk in and some dude meets us and tells me to hand over my stuff. Considering I probably can't kill him to get my stuff back later, I just say no.
Then you have come here to die.
Yeah, I was invisible for this conversation, by the way. The game doesn't really know how to react to that. I could just walk out and tell everybody where this place is, but where's the fun in that? So I Salt Snake my way through the place a little bit and managed to find myself in the inner shrine. I see some preacher with an amulet going on and on about Lord Dagon, so I just move in and pick his pocket.
Winnowed. You timid shall be cast down. The mighty shall tremble at my feet and praise the Lord.
So saith Lord Dagon.
Well, that was hectic. So if I can't just steal the amulet, then I'm gonna take his book. I wait for the guy to leave, then I just grab it, go invisible, and run for it.
You cannot escape the Master's vigilance.
What? Oh, okay. Sorry? What was it? Okay. Yeah. So I escaped the Master's vigilance. Did you know that these guys are apparently allowed to drink? Weirdly non-controlling for a cult. You know, other than the whole murder thing.
I'd better cut down on the ale. Starting to see things I am.
So I take the evil Bible back to Sean Bean, and he says that he needs some time to check it out, so he tells me to talk to Stefan about some spies. Apparently we have worries about spies in Bruma, the nearby city. He tells me to go find and kill the spies. Yes, he's sending the bard rather than just doing it himself. Let's hope I can charm them to death. Before that though, I just go and sell some more loot just to see the mythic Dawn goons fighting with the guards in the streets. Badly. He pretty nonchalantly takes them out.
We're here to help.
Anyway, some dude at the temple tells me that he sees some spies near the runestones at the foot of the mountain at dusk, so I wait till dusk, and some very unenthused woman is trying to kill me.
You cannot escape the Master's vigilance. Be glad you will not live to see the day Lord Dagon walks the earth.
I just command her and then walk away a little bit. The game says someone I've never heard of is dead, then I just walk back and pick her pocket for a basement key that magically transplants the knowledge of some kind of basement layer into our heads? Oblivion is a weird game. Anyway, the game tells me to visit the captain of the guard. He tells me he's seen nothing. All I can say back is that I've seen nothing. Then my quest is to go into the house of the person I stole the key from. Weird? His basement has orders in it, and I have to bring them back to Joffrey, and he says that I need to track down and take out the other agents in the orders. So I just let the town guard do it for me.
I do not fear death.
Sean Bean then tells me that he needs a bunch of stuff according to the book, and first thing is a Daedric Artifact. He didn't tell me where to find one, but a book on his table marked it on my map, so I go there. When I get to the shrine, the guy at the front won't explain to me what the place is until I can prove I'm friendly, so I prove it by charming him with magic. Let's cut to the chase though. We can't do any of these shrine quests at level 1 except for 1, and that's because of a weird oversight. Normally to take on a shrine's quest you have to be a high enough level, but there's one shrine where you can actually do it from the very beginning without starting the quest. This is Clavicus Vile's shrine, and he wants us to get a special sword for him. The sword is held by some lady in Vendasel. I remember this place being a pretty well-known area that you can get some good equipment in, and it's right next to the Imperial City. Problem is, you have to kill this lady to get the sword. I try all my spells on her, but she's around level 50, so none of the good stuff actually works. I try stealing from her to get her to follow me around the dungeon, but the traps and the animals are doing almost nothing to her, and I couldn't actually get her to leave the dungeon. She's got mostly maxed out stats, so of course rats aren't going to do anything. I wish I could just punch her to aggro her on me and then lead her to the city for the guards to handle, but I'm not actually allowed to punch her in her rules, and a rage spell is too weak to work on her, so I gotta figure something else out. So I go back to Ida, pick up a basic paralysis spell, and then go back. I believe this is the only offensive spell that's also illusion magic, so this should aggro her. Problem is, this is super expensive to cast, and it's only touch range. I get there, paralyze her, start running away, and she takes us down fast. She's far faster than us on foot thanks to her maxed out athletics. I try a few more times, and it's absolutely terrifying. I have to nail my timing on paralysis to knock her down before she takes me out, and I have to drink tons of health potions whenever she hits me. I do manage to lead her out though, so I decide I'll swim straight to the Imperial City, and she swims after us at a terrifying speed while swinging a sword in full body armor. Once I get there, the pathfinding totally breaks and she just keeps swimming around in the water like a shark. Eventually, I see her swim off into the distance, and I try to follow her.
What?
Wait, did she just forget that she chased me out here? So I ended up leading her around for a comedic amount of time until I finally got here near the gate of the city and...
Stop! You violated the law.
Yeah, apparently, as I was running from this crazy person with a sword, the guard just magically knows that I'm the instigator. I guess he was there in the underground ruin across a lake to witness that happened. Okay, so I gotta come up with a new plan. This isn't working. I'll have to level up at least a little bit so that I can do other Daedric quests, but I'll have to study up on what ones are possible and what level that I'll need to be. Again, I want to stay at a low level so that monsters don't get too strong for us, considering we're not a combat class, but we also have to get an artifact. I make sure to train up to expert level illusion, and we pick up a stronger command humanoid spell, because we're totally going to need this by the end. It looks like Azura's Shrine will only require that we be at level 2, have some glow dust, and then we have to fight some vampires. That actually sounds like a fun quest. So I go track down a Will of the Wisp, and then, well, honestly, I'm not sure what happened. I used Command Creature on a wolf and one of the wisps, and then I paralyzed another wisp so that they'd attack it. The dog bit the air for ages, and I'm not entirely sure if it actually hurt the wisp, and the wisps don't seem to interact with each other for an entire minute or so while I just keep refreshing the Command Creature spells. Then suddenly one pulled electricity out of the other one, and then the dust dropped. I don't really get it either. So Azura says that 5 of her followers tried to kill a vampire a long time ago, but got infected in the process, and they've been living in the vampire's lair ever since. Azura wants us to put them out of their misery. Well, time to see if Command Humanoid works on vampires. Turns out it does, but we lost our first attempt pretty fast because this spell is just so expensive. Then I thought to try our old Command Humanoid spell, and it actually works, so we breeze through most of the place by letting them fight each other. At the end, though, is when it gets scary, as the last vampire is too strong for the weak Command Humanoid spell, and I have to use the expensive Dominate Humanoid one. But that's when I realized he's the last vampire left. He's just gonna follow me until this wears off, and when I run out of magic, he's gonna crush me, so I just sprint out of there. I thought I made it away at first, then I turned around and saw he was chasing me. A hero scamp tried to save me with a fireball, but he's still running at me, so I commanded him, breathe for a second, and then I realized I'm next to a gigantic Oblivion gate. How didn't I know that was here before? So I start leading the vampire down the road towards the shrine. It's actually pretty hilarious most of the time. He's an orc in heavy armor, so he's a pretty slow runner, and I took more speed on my level up. After a while, I managed to find some wild animals, so I start commanding them for help. The wolf didn't do much, but the wisp did pretty great. I go back to the shrine after and get our artifact. It's a shame that we have to give it away since it's a really cool one. It's a reusable soul gem. It is what it is though, let's make some progress. So I hand it over to Sean Bean and he says, bad news, we need the blood of a god, but because Tiber Septim was declared one after death, we just need his blood and that we should talk to Joffrey to learn a secret. We talk to him and he just says, yeah, we have some of his old armor with his blood left on it, but it's in a catacomb that became evil and was sealed by the first ever member of the Blades and that they said to never open it. So then he hands me the key to open it and he acknowledges that I'm going to die. Thank for the vote of confidence there, buddy. He also told us that there's apparently an Oblivion gate close to the outside of Burma, and that's part of the main story too, so I decided that I'll just do that first. The gate really isn't as bad as the last one, though. Now that we're a far better spellcaster and have some backup, this whole place goes smoothly. The captain of Burma's guard is with us, and he seemingly can't die. Also, both Command Creature and Command Humanoid are working very well in here, so maybe it was just a spell effectiveness thing. Oh, by the way, it turns out that the heavier armor you wear, the weaker your magic effects are. I learned that one on the wiki while I was studying for quests for this video. It's funny that I never figured that out as a kid. Joffrey asks us if we close the gate and then instantly congratulates us for closing the gate. He tells me to talk to the Lords of the Land to get backup for Burma, but it's not actually a required part of the main story, so I just decide to walk to the tomb instead. The tomb itself is pretty boring, just a lot of walking past ghosts. The invisibility spell seems to work great here. I got really confused when I entered this room though. It feels like it's progress, but if I walk towards the light, I get hurt. If memory serves, we're looking for a specific ghost that starts this quest, so I need to find him. Eventually, I do find him. He's just some skeleton. It took forever, but I managed to command the ghosts into casting about 100 spells on him. Then I led him back and forth through a dart trap until he died. The ghost then went on for ages about how he was sent in to figure out what ruined the place, and he figured out that it was the Underking. I don't know who that is, but I choose to believe that it's what would happen if the Undertaker won King of the Ring. Anyway, I have to take out all the undead blades. The second one took me ages to take down. Just a lot of leading it back and forth and waiting for ghosts to hit him, but it seemed like he was slowly regenerating health, so eventually I took him down by leading him back to this warden who I skipped earlier, and I had him finish it off. For the third blade, I had a great idea. I had the third and the fourth just fight each other. Fourth blade ends up winning, so my plan now is to take him back to the warden and hope that the blade loses. Unfortunately, when I got there, the warden actually loses the fight. Okay, new idea. Let's push him off of a ledge. I very slowly charm him and push him off this ledge in the main room, and not gonna lie, I kind of thought that was like a misty, super deep pit. I didn't realize that was actually hip-deep water. Okay, third try, and I go to the weird enchanted damage zone and slowly shove him into it until he explodes into bones. That one actually worked. After that, they just dispelled the barrier, and I grabbed the armor. I was actually getting worried I wouldn't be able to do that part of the quest without punching someone, so I feel pretty good about that. So I bring the armor to Sean Bean, and he tells me that the next thing I have to find for him is a great Welkin stone. Apparently, there's still one in some ancient ruins of a city that's guarded by a vengeful spirit of a king, so more fighting the undead coming up. The dungeon ended up being super easy, and it only took me about 10 minutes to go through. I got lost a bit, but it's just goblins and zombies for the most part, so I can walk past them with invisibility. When I grab the stone, the door locks and the king shows up, but I used to play this game all the time in high school, so I was able to pick the very hard difficulty lock with only 13 lockpicking skill. It's just a simple timing minigame, so it's not really that hard. The king didn't know Detect Life, so I just walked out. Oh, by the way, semantic number 2. Am I allowed to pick locks? Because I've picked quite a few. Sure, it's a skill, but I also think almost every challenge would be impossible without this. Sure, there's keys for a lot of things, but I don't think there's keys for everything, and I'm not actually allowed to use the School of Magic that allows me to open locks that way. Once again, straw poll in the description for if you allow lockpicking or not. That's when something really weird happens, and I think this is the first major glitch of the run. As I walk farther and farther from the ruins, it just keeps saying that I can't fast travel with enemies nearby. Even when I walk all the way to Skingrad, it still says that I can't wait or fast travel. I even try using a bed in town, but it says that enemies are nearby. I need to get time to pass fast enough that it reloads the position of everyone, so I have a genius idea. I'll get arrested. That should force me to pass time by having me travel to the jail. Turns out I already had a bounty anyway, so I paid that, they teleported me outside of the castle, and 2 zombies just showed up. I just led them to a local guard, he takes them down, and fast travel is back on the menu. Anyway, Sean Bean tells us that to get the last item that we need, we should just let the Mythic Dawn make a greater Oblivion gate next to Burma, then defend the city and take the Sigil Stone that they used to make it. The Countess of Burma isn't exactly thrilled with the plan, but she's willing to meet with Mr. Bean at the temple to discuss it. When I get there, though, it's just the 2 of us. She wants me to go get more allies, but I don't even know if I can do this quest, so I just tell her to start the fight. Defending Martin in this battle— sorry, did I call him Martin? I've been calling him Sean Bean this whole time. Defending Sean Bean in this battle is actually super easy. My spells hardly work on any of these guys, so I mostly just watch, and even with them having the worst team they can have because I didn't do any side quests, they did fine. Then I'm sent into the Oblivion Gate and I have 15 minutes to close it. I don't know my way around this place very well, so I get lost quite a bit. And on the outside, I end up having to do some parkour. Some of these gates are opened elsewhere, and I don't have the faintest clue where, so I just found a creative way to jump over the walls. The main tower itself was a breeze to walk through. It will never stop being funny to me that I can use Starlight and Invisible at the same time, and yet no one thinks it's strange that a flying light is just floating its way to the top of the tower. At the top, there's no fight. I just grab the sigil stone like usual, and we close it no problem. That's where the illusion magic really shines. Walking past hordes of enemies that would normally destroy us is so gratifying. With that gate closed, Bean told us that he'll prepare the ritual to send us to the final boss lair. Oh, and apparently Boris was at the fight too? I never saw him. I guess he showed up after I went in and he got himself killed, so I took his sword. The gold I'll get for this is more useful than he ever was. Back at the temple, and Sean Bean opens a portal to paradise. He tells me that I can find the ringleader and kill him there, but that I'll have to find my own way out. Apparently killing him will be the way out. When I get there, it kind of looks like the Isle of Mist mixed with the Hero Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2. So I just walk around a little bit as Mancor talks to us on our head, the ruler of this place. You know, that dude who gave the speech in the Mythic Dawn base before he teleported away, the guy with the amulet. One of his goons tells me that to pass him, I either need to fight him or do him a favor. I chose to fight him, then just use Dominate Humanoid and have him run around fighting the local little dinosaur guys. Believe it or not, he actually dies fighting the second one, so this guy was pretty pathetic. That leads us to the Flooded Grotto. Mancor tells us that Tamriel, the land that we've been adventuring in, is an old Daedric realm. That's why the gods die, but Daedra are always reborn. That's some really cool lore that I didn't think that I knew. This lady here explains that all the people here were once followers of Lord Dagon and were given immortality after death, but that this place is just Mancor's playroom where people die over and over just to be reborn and tortured more. Apparently, to advance to the Forbidden Grotto, we need to get the Band of the Chosen, but no one's ever seen someone come out of the Forbidden Grotto, so they don't know what happens when you get in there. We got the band from the Daedra's body though, so we just go in. Man, it sucks to be that guy. Anyway, some dude here regrets working for Mankar Cameron, so he decides to trick the guards into thinking I'm a prisoner. I mean, until he starts yelling about how he'll distract the guards as long as he can while they're like 20 feet away from him.
There's no way for me to cross, but the Master's immortality does have its uses. I will distract the Dremora for as long as I can.
A few rooms over and he takes the band off of me since apparently it's required to get out of the other side of this place, and he agrees to help me try and take down Mankar. I don't think he follows us very far though, because I just went invisible, kept running, and I've never seen him again. When we finally get to the throne, Mankar wants to talk forever, and I just want to take him down. This takes quite a few tries before I figure out a winning strategy. Mankar is an amazing spellcaster, and he always likes to have a summoned bodyguard. Not only that, but his kids are here and they fight too. I can't control his bodyguard, but thankfully his kids can be dominated and he revives them. So I just keep dominating them over and over and going invisible. Since Mankar doesn't know any healing magic, I'm able to slowly chip away at him. There's a lot of dangers in this strategy. Only his daughter is able to be commanded with Command Humanoid. His son requires Dominate Humanoid, and that blows through most of my magic. So magic potions are pretty important at this part, and I don't have many. Sometimes, even after reviving his kids, he instantly attacks them again, and sometimes he wouldn't. Must be some kind of glitch based around the aggro that they generate when they're on my side, not always resetting when they're revived. It took ages, but eventually they took out Mankar for me, and the place falls apart. After that, Sean Bean wears the Amulet of the Kings and says that we need to go to the Imperial City and stop the invasion once and for all. When I get to the city, it turns out that it's under attack and I have to escort Sean Bean to the Temple of One. He actually can die during this sequence and it forces you to reload a save if that happens, so I have to participate in this a little bit. He did die in one attempt. Dominate Human seems to work well on the Daedra, so for the most part, I use that. We quickly get Sean Bean to the temple, he shatters the amulet and turns into a dragon, and before he dies of his wounds that he gets in the fight, he manages to take out Lord Dagon and save the lands, officially marking the end of the main quest of the game, and all without having to use a single non-illusion spell or a single regular attack. I can't believe I actually did this crazy challenge on my first try. Alright, if you'll allow me to just emotionally gush for a minute. I had the absolute time of my life playing Oblivion again. Seriously, for as much as I love the Pokemon challenges, doing one a week for over a year, it grinds you down. And being able to play such a funny and uplifting game like Oblivion again really revitalized me and helped relight the passion for challenges that I kind of feel it was starting to dim. Did you know that I did 4 days worth of editing in one day on my Pokemon Platinum Honey Tree run, just so that I could start this challenge even faster? I loved making this. I just hope that you guys loved it too. I've legit uploaded a video a day minimum for over 9 years now on this channel. And just the whole voiceover and script writing and making of this video and playing of this challenge is one of the funnest videos that I have ever done. And man, I hope I don't blow it on editing it for you guys, because that comes next. Let's hope I did a good job. I guess you'll let me know in the comments section. For next Saturday's challenge, it's back to Pokemon with the long-awaited Generation 3 only in-game trade Pokemon run. This is going to be brutal because Ruby only has 3 in-game trades. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments, in the Pokemon Challenge section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. If you want to see me do more challenges like this, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter. I can always use my ideas from you guys on what I should do next. Also, check out the playlist in the description to watch all the Pokemon challenges that I've already uploaded. If you guys want to see more Oblivion stuff from me, I don't really have much for you to look at, sorry, but we might soon. I'll have a playlist in the description just for non-Pokemon challenges if you're interested in that. But if you guys do want to see more Pokemon stuff from me, my friend Whatageek and I finished a Gen 1 randomizer over on his channel, linked in the description, and we're starting an Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire run on his channel too. Randomizer once again, linked in the description. You can also watch myself, Whatageek, and Goosehead playing Pokemon Stadium here on my channel. Also come to the Twitch TV streams and tell me that this video sent you. It's always cool to hear how you found the channel. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.